Hello, everyone, and welcome to Indiana Esports Network IEN Valorant Action Week 5 as we continue through our high school circuit. I'm D'Lo on the mic. Joining me here in the booth, my friend Cherry J. Almighty Eyes in the sky, Connie and Taylor keeping the prod lights on and the cam steady. Cherry, how we feeling?
I'm feeling great. We have a very crazy match for all of you in store. It's no slouches. It's Carmel versus Hamilton Southeastern. These two Division AAA teams are going to be facing off within the Indiana Esport League. So this is two dominant powerhouses. I'm super excited. D'Lo, we got a 3-1 team versus a 4-0, and we're heading to the streets of Italy for Ascent for map number 1. I want to get your thoughts, right? Because, like, we see time and time again, you know, some of these middle-of-the-pack teams playing out. We get to look towards what they're doing, having fun, but now we get the big dogs in store. How do you think this could possibly go down?
Carmel and Ham, I will say, not necessarily the typical mixers you might expect when it comes to your typical dinner plate. However, it does make for an interesting match of Valorant. I think the point you made is very important. The fact that these records, one stands spotless, the other stands with a bit of a ding on the plate. There's potential for us to equalize the playing field a bit. I think there's a lot of pressure going into the situation for both the team that steps up to the undefeated Juggernaut as well as that Juggernaut themselves. You have everything to lose and still, at the very least, some experience to gain. Ascent is definitely an interesting map to take it as well. You don't have to quite worry as much about the three-site chaos that we sometimes see on other venues. So at the very least, you don't have to worry about that. You know what else you don't have to worry about? Quality technology. We want to give a huge shout out to Zotac Gaming for supporting Scholastic Esports in Indiana in the first place. You can show your appreciation for Zotac Gaming by giving them a shout out on social media. Make sure to join the community on the Discord, and don't ever forget to use that hashtag powered by Zotac or hashtag ZotacUSA when you post.
Yeah, we are going to be getting on into Ascent. I mean, you kind of mentioned that 3-site stranglehold that teams do have to deal with when it comes down to having to really navigate throughout the individual sites. But this is even harder, in my opinion, as Ascent. It's a defense-sided map. We know that all too well, as there's just these small choke points, and you got to push through them somehow, some way. You got to find a way to be able to clear the chaos, and when you're on the attacking side, it becomes a detriment, to say the least, having to make your way on through. But we are going to be seeing those compositions get locked. Actually, the Veto getting picked up, so certainly a fun addition to the squad, as we are going to be looking at that added into the roster. I'm not sure exactly how the kind of rules work in the IEN on whether or not this is a kind of a situation where they weren't allowed to play it for 2 weeks. It's only recently coming back on into the available options, or whether or not it was available from the start. But it certainly is cool to see these new adaptations, these new characters being brought in to the high school leagues.
It's also cool if you're a Hamilton supporter, the fact that, like you mentioned, starting on defense, already having that advantage, I think momentum matters an immense amount, especially when you are batting with that undefeated record. You want to start with the heavy hand. You want to start with the wind in your sails. So the fact that you can kind of leverage the pressure to already be on the favored side feels really solid. Now, as far as the picks go down, everything's locked up. Looking across the compositions, Cherry, anything that catches your eye?
Besides that veto, I think the defense really just going to be running that kind of standard ranked type composition. You like these double duelists, as especially with the new nerfs to all agents, initially only being towards the initiator class, then moving over towards the sentinels. We kind of saw those getting dropped in priority, making the duelists thrive even heavier. So now we're seeing that Reyna Jet as well as the ISO Jet in both regards. You kind of think about that, oh yeah, maybe they're kind of similar compositions. They're exactly the same. You look towards those Reyna and ISOs as the almost exact same character, as they have one job and one job only. Go kill, find success, and make your game even better. The Jet, their job is going to be open up the site, explode in, make chaos, and find your opposite duelists to be able to get even more kill potential. We get on in round 1 off the board. Dilo, I want to get your thoughts here for just 1 second. What do you think of this mid push?
Well, we'll have to find out if it ends up being good fortune. I think the fact that they have this ice, like you mentioned, they got to go in like a hammer bullet, try to find kills early, at the very least trade out for one, but the Omen instead gets a better deal. Dopamine does take down one before the doppelganger trades out with their life as well. So far, advantage Southeastern. The peek around the corner, unfortunately, result in Kyle's end. Turns though, turns it around and grabs the brim for breach.
Turns with a shock dart, just a little bit too wide. It bounces right on back. But it won't matter. FZL will pick up the final kill, bring the pistol round over, as Hamilton Southeastern will collect round number 1, setting the tone for this series.
And as always, when a pistol round goes your way, you got to expect that probably the second round follows suit. So Carmel's kind of hold there, wait there, make sure that they're not going to get a bit too overzealous. And I like this fact, always buy together, and you can see that Southeastern are certainly obeying that fact, and Carmel saving together, making sure to not get too fritzy with it. It's only the first round, no need to panic.
Oh, we are going to be seeing a very similar way of bringing out round number 2 as they look to go for possibly that mid to A split once more, but the adaptation from the defensive side, locating 2 players up towards mid, looking to put a stranglehold up towards the center of the stage in Ascent, and we're going to be seeing a bit of a split completely, actually. There's a lot of players walking up A,
nice.
Finds 1.
Wow, managed to get 2 as well. The 2K all day. Angi does answer back with the classic finally, but Dopamine in turns instantly stamp out the embers of Revolt. We only have a Jet left, but it's probably going to be crash landing sometime soon. Not before, though. Shooting down one more bogey in the sky. Dopamine's dead.
That'll do it. A very dominant round. Only 2 players dropped, as Hamilton Southeastern able to pick up their rifles. Instead of dropping them down, they are going to be able to recycle them, bring them back on through for the rest of the roster. As now it kind of begs the question, Dilo, did they opt in for a heavy investment to bring those 2 pistols they have into rifles? It seems like the answer is yes, as we look towards the Omen of Hamilton Southeastern with a rifle in hand. That Vandal needs to pay out dividends, or else this could cause a bit of a detriment.
At the very least, that is exactly what you expect from the A+ squadrons. They play as a team, cohesive, and also hopefully lethal. Carmel got to try to stall the pressure that Southeastern have mounted here. Again, you can't let them build too much momentum, even if they bear the advantage on the map. That being said, they also bear the man advantage. Turns, vetoes the veto.
Taking down these investments, the duelists fall as the kill contract will be picked up for Carmel. Shut down immediately though. Immense pressure gets placed onto them as there will be pushes in mid and B site. KYL takes 1, takes a double, and that's the round.
What amazing trigger discipline there by the Omen. For a minute, I thought they were just going to let them try to savor their potential victory before sniping it away. Brutal means, but certainly can't argue the results. So far, top of the leaderboards as well. I know Omen obviously has got so much utility there with the smokes, but clearly proving they've got utility as well behind the trigger finger.
It does seem as if there might be a little bit of an issue for one of the Carmel players, as it does seem with, or sorry, not even Carmel, sorry, oh my gosh. It's going to be on the side of Hamilton Southeastern, who currently has a player with over 100 ping, a little bit of a detriment for them. However, if we look at it, Dilo, they're still taking a massive lead. Dopamine's going to go in, Tailwind out, immediately Cloudburst 2 follow in pursuit.
Danger. Concussed and also brought down. Dopamine is riding a high, but going to be left dry. Finally, the ISO can take them down. But again, these duelists are trading out. That's what you asked them to do. That's what we're seeing. Killjoy going to kill one more. The ISO will fall. Ring around Rosie of the cover, but FZL's got the high ground, drops him down low, comes around the corner, and takes down the breach as well. Beautiful work there by the Killjoy, and that's going to be one more round in favor of Hamilton.
Precise gunplay does not know FCL. Just dominance is being displayed as this masterclass performance brings them a 4th round. I mean, this is absurd. Hamilton Southeastern taking such a high advantage. Obviously, I kind of mentioned it before we got into the game. This is a bit of a defense-sided map. However, when it's a bit of this big of a disparity, it kind of begs the question, how will Carmel respond? Obviously, once they get to the defense, they will have these 3 kind of duelist-esque characters, that being the Jet, that being the ISO, that being the Vito. All 3 have so much capability, especially that Vito. I don't know if you've been familiar with the character at all, but I believe that ultimate can be so despairing, but as turns falls, it gets a bit of an advantage over to Carmel.
First time we really got to see Carmel start with the heavy hand. Gongi managed to just barely evade death, utilizing that plot armor. Dopamine says Jet does not have a similar issue as they trick them out. FZL finishes off the ISO, so those duelists are double dead. Good lead to Hamilton, just continuing to leverage that pressure as Kyle takes the TP on in and drops one more out. Possibly Johnny going to join them in the afterlife. Only Vito left to filibuster for this round.
Oh my gosh, FCL putting in the damage. Arky will look for signs of life. Taking one, Phantom in hand, pulling out some utility, trying to get a bit of a snare, but it will be leading to the TP as now FCL reads its perfect. And a 3rd round, picture perfect accuracy. It's a domination for FCL.
I've got to ask, you mentioned the fact, and we're going to keep saying it because it's just clearly being proven here. Proof's in the pudding in terms of the scoreboard. 5-0. If you are Carmel, how many rounds are you looking to try to gain as the timeout comes through on this offensive end?
I mean, you look towards some of these teams at this high school, collegiate, even towards the higher levels of that professional play. You can find comebacks on any map, and especially Ascent. You go down maybe 10-2. It could still be winnable. All you gotta do, take that pistol round, bring it 4-10, and it certainly could be possible. I think 11-1 might be where you really start getting discouraged, despaired, and it could possibly cause a bit of a detriment. However, if you got that kind of reserved roster who's had that experience playing in a high-level scholastic esports, being kind of discouraged isn't something that comes easily. It's something that has to be done time and time again. Pressure has to be applied. So far, I think Carmel's still standing tall.
Well, as far as reservations, FCL's got none. Speaking loud and proud, 8-0, top of the kill board, and also bottom of the depth charts as well alongside Waves. Has not touched that gray screen yet, and that has got to feel good. So maybe try to send some party favors to the afterlife for my friend the Killjoy, and then we can start to see momentum push on forward. Jet's got the Storm ready, and Kyle's got the ultimate as well. Nothing of a similar sort available for Carmel.
FCL, Waves, both putting up no gray screens. As we said, look towards mid. We will be seeing the Zova of turns approaching their doom.
Dopamine does trade out for Arky right after. It's not like turns is the worst sacrifice, especially when Dopamine is on the heater. Finds a 3K instantly. Particle Storm not going to be much. They're able to pull up the umbrella, and FCL's may have been able to finish it all off. Brilliant work here by the Jet and Killjoy. It seems like all you need is 2 from Hamilton, and Carmel just melts away.
A massacre approaches in garage as a dominant stance is taken. FCL, Dopamine working hand in hand, collecting the kills. Eliminations go wild, and it's a Carmel roster getting their economy back onto the front foot. After last round, they were pushed on to those close-range weapons, something that doesn't really feel suited to that mid-engagement that they were forced into.
Get out of my way!
Stack on A. Do go for the split up mid.
Stay down.
Dopamine instantly rewards them with the death of Gongi once more. Gone indeed. Dopamine peeks through the smoke, but they do actually bite the bullet for their transgressions. Turns as well. Jet tries to put on the Blade Storm, but Kyle says, I got a winner code, sucker. FCL manages to blast right through Johnny, and Kyle finishes off Arky as well. Only the breach remains, but I don't think they've got the best chances against this 3v1.
If you can get an ult orb, you could ignite the Rolling Thunder, possibly pick up around something necessary, but FCL peeks in, gets a bit overzealous for their bearings, bringing out the flashpoint, and now it's a 1v2, with flank in store. Waves going to be looking to be that win condition for the rest of the roster.
Killjoy might have died for the first time, but Waves is going to try to maintain immortality, at least for now, and it's going to be the case. Green gets erased, and it's 7-0 for Southeastern.
And not pushing forward, giving away your location. And with their other player live on the A site, it gave the side of Carmel that information. They will be main. We know that they are going to be approaching this location. So that just gave this Reyna. Waves had all the information they needed to be able to set their sights, mark their marks, and find success easily. Now we are going to be seeing Hamilton Southeastern still with the upper foot as 7 rounds are there. There's 4 ultimates in the bank, but I look towards this veto, and we'll see what they can get. Already down, it's Green to get traded.
All right, Turns at the very least does manage to get down one. Oftentimes, I like the Sova just gets off the utility and kind of ends up being fragged out. So at the very least, you grab one. Not the worst trade, especially when Dopamine's able to just mid-kill, pull out a magic hat. Waves takes down Green, but also tastes death the first time, courtesy of Gongi. ISO tries to go for the ISO play, but their opponent's gonna swat them at half court. FCL wins the day.
I feel so bad. I start that sentence off. Yeah, Arky, they got the ultimate on the line. Vito going with the evolution is such a powerful play. And then as soon as it happens, they get taken offline. It's a tragedy for Carmel as they weren't able to ignite it early on enough, as that investment wasn't there. And honestly, it's just so good. Maybe not into this comp now that you kind of look towards it. Obviously, the Killjoy going to have a lackluster time dealing with this, the Sova as well. However, we'll see what they can make happen, as we are going to be getting a bit of individuals pushed up. The undercut forces out a lot of valuable information, as it is going to be the kill contract as well, forcing FCL into the 1v1, but we know how precise they are, and they make sure they reign supreme.
Not the person you wanted to pull into the chamber. At the very least, they get killed right after, but the damage already done. Kyle and Turns take turns to drop 2 more, and only the Jet remains left. We got a bogey on the left. Does manage to spray and pray down Dope and Turns. What an amazing trigger discipline. It takes the clutch as well. Finally, 1 round in favor of Carmel.
Signs of life don't even begin to explain what we just saw. A complete obliteration, as it was Carmel to be in the 1v3 clutch, as their Jet stands composed, poised in that CT area of B site, completely limited. They were Boathouse, and they were with a Stinger. The close range guns should never be able to proceed like they did, but in the end, a dominance is shown as Carmel finally going to be on the board.
IHSEN needs hip replacements for like half of their team after that. Just sweeps them at the midsection. But amazing work by the Jet to keep hope alive and keep the enemy dead. Dopamine lies in wait. Maybe not knowing that all of their enemies surround them. ISO tries to force their way in, but you got no riot shield, sucker. All you've got is a face that's going to be a sponge for bullets. Dopamine uses the cloud burst, even their enemies, to block fire. Takes down 2, but we're finally going out. But Kyle says, I can do that as well. For Arky finally silences them. FCL finishes the job. It's a bloodbath here, but Southeastern stands strong at the end.
Hamilton Southeastern, this domination that they've been putting forward is pursuing in kind. I do love some of the plays, though, that we've been seeing from Carmel, especially the undercut initially enacted by Gangi towards a main. It allowed them to be able to take offline the tailwind from their opposing Jet in Dopamine, who was looking to be able to instantly pop that, get out into Tree Room, but instead they were able to be found out, traded in a pretty good situation, as they are certainly one of the players you look towards as a front foot stepping stone. But with waves already down, Carmel back up into a good spot.
The Blaze Form is available, but that Sheriff is going to be something maybe we got to deal with. Possibly Johnny. Certainly dead. Kyle takes them out. Dopamine manages to just dip and duck and dodge around the utility from Gangi. Arky also taken out the 2v4, not one that favors Carmel. But we've seen clutches up before. Not going to happen again. Jet gets shot down by turns.
That'll do it. A 10th round, double digits have been found as Hamilton Southeastern putting themselves in a very strong situation. And I think, I don't know, man. I don't really understand the ideas coming through from these rosters, but I gotta tell you, I'm not smart enough. These two teams certainly are, and I think I might know how they got smart enough. They've got a lot of strats these two teams have been pulling out of the playbooks, and we'll have to wait and see what they do have again. You don't spectate these plays as something that have been traditional. Dopamine especially. You look towards some of these previous rounds where they're just an absolute insanity plays coming through, where they're just pushing through smokes, finding value, and it seems like that's going to be maintaining once more as the lockdown gets pressed into the wall. Taking a little bit of back, it will be trades up towards mid.
Pal being the one that falls is actually very important. Oftentimes getting 2 before they go down, but turns answers back by dropping Arky. If you saw there at the beginning, 4 ultimates on each side. You got to start seeing the utility used because you're not going to have it in just a moment once we switch sides. Possibly Johnny's got the Odin, the Allfather's here, and finds 2 sons in Hamilton Southeastern. Sadly, the Breach going to be joining the family in the afterlife. Waves sends the Evil Eye through the wall, but actually gets taken out for their troubles. Carmel making a stand here in the 12th round.
Switching sides.
Looking poised as the Odin certainly does give them that domination that they were looking for. These players bringing it back as, I don't want to say it's unwinnable. I really do not think that it's the most unfeasible situation. If they can find the pistol round here at Carmel, it certainly would be able to give them that ability to be able to take it back, put their name in the docket, secure that 4-1 record that they've been looking for. Is going down 3-2. It certainly isn't the end of the world, that's for sure, Dilo, but it definitely kind of relinquishes that aggression that you've been holding over your opposition in terms of having that +2 game record. A +1 isn't bad, but it's just barely costly.
And also, here's the issue. Carmel have no wiggle room. They also have no momentum. They also don't have the confidence at this point. They're recognizing why HSE are the undefeated team that they stand to beat. Possibly Johnny, of course, now on the defensive end, could try to get a bit more utility off as the brand, but FCL turns and sure, Arky and Gangi can do no such thing. Already a plan forced out. The retake looking dubious. Possibly Johnny's dead.
Alrighty, there's Carmel. Unfortunately, Green not aware of the peaks. The intuition gonna be a little bit too wide. It's all up to this Jet Buzz to get massacred. It's the Tailwind followed up as Dopamine collects a third. A flawless round. Committed to look to poise them on match point.
And the only reason we can watch all this fun, fancy fireworks and high-flying action is because of the LANFest. So a quick shout-out to them. This broadcast is part of LANFest, Scholastic Esports program, a program that supports this league and many others. Since launching, LANFest has delivered over 300 broadcasts to Scholastic leagues in Washington, Indiana. We provide them free of charge to the league, schools, and teams we cover. Your generous donations make that all possible. Every $200 raised covers the operating costs for one regular season broadcast. If you appreciate our work, scan the QR code on screen. Donate today. Open your hearts and open those pocketbooks.
That is looking like this stream might come to an end sooner rather than later. Carmel looking in a good position as they're able to snare 2 of their opposition. Arky to be slowing down, but unfortunately no pace seems to be lost. The tempo keeps up. Turns pushed so aggressively up towards heaven.
It's going to be dangerous, and that's actually going to turn against turns instead. How the turntables. Dopamine drops down Gangi despite the utility expended. FZL takes down Johnny as well. Dopamine finishes off the Jet. Tries to look for one more. Will succeed at that. Only Arky left, the newest toys, but will it be the same old result? Can they hold firm against this take?
Alrighty, it seems good for Arky as they go in with the stinger. Unfortunately, AYL will inevitably take their gun for themselves. Match point has been reached, and when you have their number, Hamilton Southeastern looking poised as the timeout will come out, looking to try and reevaluate options. You know what I'm looking towards, actually? I would not have expected this, but how on earth is FCL putting up this crazy good performance on 100 ping?
It's pretty disgusting when you consider the fact this is not even my real power. You guys have not even managed to push me to that point of temptation, but you do not want to see FCL when they're angry. About, what, 30 more seconds left before you're thrown right back into the flames and fire? Carmel, if you're looking at it from their perspective, what adjustments do you want to see to ensure a bit more success?
Oh, I mean, I think overall they could try and just deathball their way down mid. I think that could possibly be an option that could provide fruitful. If they go down 3-2 splitting through bot mid and catwalk, it could possibly give them a little bit of an advantageous position if they can catch their opposition off guard when going for one of the default plays, which I think is at least semi-likely. Usually when you're on this bonus buy, the opportunity does tend to be we're going to play a little bit slower. However, that doesn't seem to be the case. Hamilton Southeastern, they want to go for a standard 3-2 split down mid over towards the A site. So this could certainly be fruitful if you're on the Carmel squad when you're 5-manning down mid. But realistically speaking, the rifles are going to be a little bit too much to handle.
Oh no, Turns already proving that fact. Drops down 2 before Johnny finally turns them back. Got the Ares in hand, but are you the true god of war, or is dopamine gonna make you get down on your knees and pray for mercy? Waves takes down Arky, and only the breach remains. Concussed or not, dopamine's gonna make sure you have more than a headache in the morning. Hamilton Southeastern ticket 13-2.
A good game for sure. Hamilton Southeastern going up 5-0 within the IEN, making their dominance known. Carmel, unfortunately, going to be even closer to that equalized position. 3-2, not a bad scoreline whatsoever, but it just goes to show the dominance performed here in this Carmel squad just was not up to the same level of firepower there that was being extremely pushed forward by the Hamilton roster. As just look at that, it's literally a green and red scoreboard. It's a stripe, Elo.
Yeah, it's pretty impressive when you consider the fact that they were only, prior to this series, one victory separated, but it just goes to show that the caliber performance necessary to reach a flawless record, it truly does make for such amazing players, and there's so much potential for them to continue to grow even past that. Carmel as well. I mean, despite the fact they only took 2 rounds to their name, there were moments, there were flashes of greatness there, and if they just look back at the VOD, try to find some moments of improvement, I am sure we can see them bump up on that scoreboard.
As you said, these players, they are playing for the wins. They're not going for any shortcomings, and it seems as if that was certainly the case for this Carmel rosters. They had those performances being put up. We saw some signs of life, especially from that Jet, who was an absolute demon on the battlefield tonight. But it kind of goes, as you said, these players, they're in high school. They got time. When they get up, they go and possibly play at the collegiate level. You got to ask yourselves, want to play in college? Now, you can search hundreds of collegiate esport programs at portal.league.gg. Scholarships exist for players, shoutcasters, and more. So list all of your talents. Verified coaches are searching LS Portal now to find you. IEN students, sign in to manage your prospect portal, where your stats automatically update. LS Portal is free. Don't miss out on your chance to be discovered. Visit portal.leagueos.gg and level up your future.
Always saying it, man. It's crazy the opportunities that are afforded to these kids nowadays. There's so many more opportunities, scholarships, potential to continue to grow your career. High school does not have to be the end. You can continue to climb up. You can continue to ascend, even further. But as far as our time here, there is nowhere else to go. That is going to be our series here on IEN Week 5 Valorant Action. I've been D'Lo, joined here in the booth by my friend Cherry J. We've had our almighty eyes in the sky, Connie, on the console, as well as Taylor. Please thank our production for all they do. We could not yell at games without them. And last, but certainly not least, thank you, loyal, obedient viewer, for your time. We hope you've enjoyed this series just as much as we have. Keep an eye to the sky for more IEN content coming at you. Until then, good games and good night. He does trade out for Arky right after. It's not like turns to the sacrifice. This one tries to pull on the Blade Storm, but Kyle says, I got a winner code, sucker. FCL. And Jet remains left. We got a bogey on the left. Does manage to spray and pray down Dope and turn. What an amazing trigger. Arky, if you saw there at the beginning, 4 ultimates on each side. You got to start seeing the utility used because you're not going to have it in just a moment once we switch sides. Possibly Johnny's got the out.
They're going to be a little bit too much to handle, guys.
Oh no, turns already.